Isn't it difficult as a contrarian in today's world to identify what to run from? Like if you're a rebel in the modern age, which most of us are actually, I think most of us are rebellious, and why wouldn't we be? We're looking around at this very broken world, and it's broken in so many different directions that you don't know where to run. Like think politically, right? You look at one side and there's so much toxicity, so you run to the other side and there's even more toxicity, and you just don't, your hair's on fire. There are no good answers. And a similar thing is happening. Like, I remember I was raised Mormon and we were shamed for sex before marriage. And if you were to remain unmarried for life, they would tell you that there's not a single time in that entire lifetime that it would be appropriate for you to express your sexuality, because it must be only within the bounds of marriage. That's an insane proposition, and one that many people feel really muzzled by. So you look at these poor muzzled Mormons who are shaming themselves for having sexual impulses outside of certain bounds. But then you'll look over at these sexually liberated folks. Like think of the pathetic septuagenarians that we're watching on Real Housewives, who have juvedermed their lips so much they can barely speak, and they're sipping their wine and they're hoisted up on a stripper pole and they're so sexually liberated. And that strikes you as a form of oppression too. So how is it that you're seeing oppression on the sexual liberation side and you're seeing oppression on the sexual repression side, and it's like you don't know what to do? And it seems to me that a well-directed contrarianism will factor timing in, right? Like if you're young, like under 30, right? Teens, 20s, that is a completely age-appropriate time to be expressing in that way. And it appears that Darwin would agree with me. I mean, our fertile window is in that time. So don't let anybody, whether it's a prophet or pastor or priest or pundit, tell you that that's not timing is everything. But maybe as we step into a little bit of maturity and start rounding some curve, and that's going to probably vary. For men, I know that their sexuality lingers way farther into their adult life. But for women, we start realizing that our impulses are not as strong and like early, you know what I mean? Because we do have that biological clock that's on a much shorter span. And why don't we roll with that? Why don't we take a hint from our bodies instead of fighting our bodies and saying, no, I'm still very sexual even though I'm 89. You know what I mean? Like, come on, give it up. Know when to give it up. Have the humility to give it up. You don't want to break a hip, girl. Don't do this. And don't get your plastic surgery, and don't spend a fortune, and don't sit in front of the mirror preening just so that you can cling to some shred of your sexuality. It's pathetic. Think of this one as well. So we've all now been traumatized by online dating. It's a zoo. Think about, as a woman, maybe coming out of some oppressive religious structure in your youth, and you are ready to step into a little bit of your sexuality because you're going to give yourself that permission. But then you get online, like God forbid you get on Tinder or something, and you've got these misogynistic men telling you that they require full access to your body, and they derogatorily tell you that you're trying to be pen pals with them if you want to have an exchange, like a human exchange for like a couple days or something before you sleep together. They won't put up with that because they feel entitled to your body right now, like a prime 2-day shipping, gimme right now, like you're some kind of commodity. And you know that what you're seeing is also evil, but you don't know what to run from because you just escaped your cult, like in my case, the Mormon cult. But then it's just as much a cult of misogyny, what you're seeing online. So it's almost like you don't get to choose true freedom. You get to choose. It's like a game of pick your captor. Like, which oppressor do you want?